Hello again, everyone. So, again, I would say a little bit the same thing as for the introduction. Thank you for being there. Thank you for participating to watch us over this YouTube stream. And during this presentation, I will be this time on time with Carl. So we will do the presentation again together. And we will talk about the Techserv processes. So Techserv processes, what do I mean by this? It's how we work internally as a Techserv team. So Techserv means technical services, and also accordingly with our development team, because we have to work together. And that is why we want to explain you everything about it, how it works, and so on. Afterwards, so after these 20-30 minutes, we can meet again in IP1. So if you want to talk again about the Techserv processes with me, Carl, and other colleagues from the Techserv department. So I would say enjoy, have fun with the presentation. I will again introduce myself, and in order that you understand one important thing at the Techserv department, I am Jeremy, so working at innovaphone since almost 6 years. So I'm a RSC for France and the West Switzerland region, so because it's French-speaking region. So the idea of the RSC, just shortly, so it's regional support consultant, not sales consultant. Our job is in order to introduce a new reseller with our product to help them in order that they are getting comfortable with our solution. And that's why innovaphone found 6 years ago that in some countries, due to this languages issues and also cultural things, so they had a really nice idea to involve some regional consultants. So I'm French, my mother tongue is French, I'm speaking German and English, as you can see today. And I'm also with my colleague Carl. Hello again, Carl. So I will let him introduce himself.
Hello, Jeremy. And yes, I'm on time this time, so I can introduce myself. Carl Pennings, working from the Netherlands, RSC for the Benelux countries and the Central Eastern Europe countries. My mother language is Limburgs and Netherlands. I'm also speaking English and German fluently. Yeah, I'm happy to see you here all in this dialogue sessions. And we're going to present a few stuff about the Techserv process.
Yes, you're right. So that is why we introduce ourselves like this with our mother tongue, our region where we are coming from and so on. It's because Carl will say that we are an international team.
Yes, we are. We have colleagues in several locations and from several countries. As you can see on the map, there's a dot in the Netherlands. That's the location where I'm working and presenting now this session from, and that's in Roermond. It's squeezed between Belgium and Germany. To the right of that, you see a location in Germany where some Techserv colleagues work, also from a bigger home office. Then in top, you see a dot for location Hanover, where we have an official innovaphone location where some commercial colleagues and technical colleagues work. Then we have, of course, the big spot is the headquarters in Sindelfingen, where the most Techserv people work. We're missing the spot of Berlin because there are no Techserv people in that location, but there are a lot of development people working there and some commercial colleagues. As you can see, we have a location in Austria, exactly in Vienna, where a Techserv colleague works. We have one in Verona in Italy and in Carcassonne in the southern of France. Also, we have a dot somewhere in the middle of the ocean. Well, that's the island of Madeira, where a technical colleague works and also one development colleague works and lives. So as we have a rather special topic in our support, we have brought together specialists from several countries in our team. Therefore, tickets are often answered in English, because this is the lowest common denominator in our team. It's also important to use English or if you are able to, German, because we work very closely with the development team. And sometimes we pass cases to our development team. The developer should be able to identify the problem as quickly as possible and deal with it without being disturbed with translations. This is also a reason why we want one ticket, so one issue per ticket. If the ticket goes to development, no other support or development staff can work on it during this time. It's also difficult for development team to find out which part of the ticket concerns them. So if you address more than one issue in a ticket, we cannot pass it to the development because the developer wants only an issue that concerns him.
Yeah, you're right, Carl. So now that you know that you can create some tickets for us, so in order to create tickets, you need to know the communication channels. So we have different channels for different topics, I would say, or different needs. So first of all, if you have concept questions, so for example, you have a new project with some requirements and you want to validate some points, some topics about this project, for example, compatibility with other devices or regarding the configuration to fulfill the customer needs, you can write us to the pre-sales at innovaphone.com. So for any questions, so it's open, it's free to everyone, either English or German. This is really important. So because we don't have so many native speakers, like for Spanish or for the French, so we cannot do everything. So please keep the English one. And of course, since now with the V13, we also released a new product, so which is cloud. Carl, how can I do if I have any question regarding myApps cloud? So I mean when it is hosted by innovaphone.
Correct, Jeremy. With version 13, we release also our own cloud solution, running in our own data centers. And if you have questions about the myApps cloud, technical questions or license questions or whatever kind of questions, you can address them to cloud@innovaphone.com. The cloud team will be informed and will also process this case accordingly.
All right, so far understood. If you have any question regarding licenses, and you can write to the license@innovaphone.com. So be careful, I've just seen right now that there is a typo mistake, so license with a S, not with a C. So, for example, you bound the license to wrong devices, you don't know how to proceed and so on, then you can contact the licenses. Or if you want to have information or if you have any issue to the licenses, please, you can contact them directly. If you use the wrong channel, like you write to pre-sales, don't worry, we can just switch this ticket to the license department for you, so you don't need to recreate another ticket. And the one last channel, but the most important one for our certified partners, support@innovaphone.com. So if you have an installation, ongoing installation, and suddenly something happens, audio quality issues, then you can ask us support, you can write to support. If you configure, for another example, something based on the wiki and it's not work as it should be, as it is described, then you can also contact us regarding any kind of support. So we are here to help you in order to solve your issue. Even if it's a bug, configuration issue, whatever, just contact us if you have any issues regarding this. But of course, we can write to the pre-sales or support, we will create a ticket, but inside the ticket, we will need also some information that Carl will let you know. First of all,
yes, we need information in a ticket so we understand the issue. So when a ticket arrives at support@innovaphone.com, it will also be automatically checked. It checks if the sender of the email is an authorized support person. And why do we want this? Because only then we can assume that the partner has already tried to analyze the problem as much as possible and that he tried to help the customer in advance. So we don't want to start from scratch or from zero to help you. And that would be not effective if we had to start from scratch. So we assume that you did your work already in advance.
Right. So if you have sufficient rights to contact us, we would need more config file. This is really important. As you already saw recently, that we changed a little bit our communication way if no configuration file are given. So we don't want to torture you with this, even if the problem does not relate with a configuration file from the PBX, send it to us. Why? This is really simple. Our ticketing system is fulfilling some fields automatically. So regarding the firmware version, support rights, etc., etc. This is used by the Techserv team, by the development team. If we don't have those information, we have to fill them manually, and this we don't want to do it. So we have machines to do it. We are relying on the machines, I would say, basically. So please, this is really important. Another important way, for example, you said, oh, I have my Android client and I cannot search my local contacts, and the support is asking me the PBX config, but it has nothing to do with my problem. We want to check also other things inside the configuration. We are checking also the health status of the configuration, I would say. Sometimes the configuration is big or is looking weird, and our system is checking this. Then we can advise you proactively, before something happens with this weird configuration, that you need to check also other stuff inside the configuration. So please, again, I will repeat it until it's clear to everyone. Don't worry about this. This is my job. Send us your configuration file. This is really important. Even though if you have more than one devices, like IP phones are involved, just send everything. So with the standard password. So don't send a configuration with customized password. First of all, we don't want to know your password. Even we cannot know them because it's encrypted. And for security reasons, nobody wants to share his private password. So please use the standard one. This will help us also to use the configuration file. Otherwise, we cannot open it, we cannot work with it. It will be a hard task for us, and we are just losing time. So right now, you know that you can send information, but what happens when you just click to your send button of your mail client? So it lands to a special queue, which is called dispatch queue. And we have a special people about this regarding his job and what he's checking.
Yeah, let me explain that, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Your ticket lands in the dispatch, and the dispatch is a rolling system. Every employee in the Techserv takes part in this rolling system. Due to the rolling system, a response from the dispatcher can come from different employees. And even on the same day, different employees can give you an answer. These employees now check whether all relevant information is contained in the ticket. This includes not only the config file, but also log files, trace files that show the problem. But also if the problem is described in a comprehensible way, so that we understand what your issue is. Here it is important that we do not know your system environment, and we do not know the solution design of the customer. So please explain that to us, and you could even make a drawing to explain it. It's therefore important to describe the environment as well and as detailed as possible, especially a description of components which concern in the problem and in the issue. If the problem is clear and can be solved directly by the dispatcher, he will answer you and we will solve it directly. In case he's not able to solve it directly, he will pass it to the next colleagues. And that's the support queue. Jeremy?
Exactly, as you said. So when the ticket is not, it's not possible to solve it directly, we pass it to a queue, which is called support queue. And here our colleagues, they are just picking the ticket and just working on the ticket. What is the job of our support guys? It's basically to reproduce your problem. So that is why we are asking configuration file, good explanation, and so on and so on. We will talk about this later on, because you need to reproduce it in order to understand the issue and to find out if it's either a bug or a configuration issue. Okay? Then, if you produce a problem and he knows that you need to work closely with the development team, he would need to create which is called an InnoTest. So I won't talk more about InnoTest because Carl will explain you. Basically, it's just automatic tests. And this is for us really important to have those InnoTests. You will understand why later on.
Yes, the InnoTest. The innovaphone system environment, the firmware and the process are written in a script. This script enables every Techserv and development employee to load the test in a defined environment. So basically, we make your configuration as simple as possible to reproduce your issue, and this configuration is loaded completely in the script and in a special environment. And if we can reproduce your issue, we will pass it to the developer. The developer can load exactly the same script in the same hardware and system environment and can reproduce the issue as well. So he is able to do with a few clicks and a few test items to reproduce the issue and can check, okay, it's going wrong here or there, and then he can create a fix in the system. If a bug fix is found, the test is also used for automatic tests. And these automatic tests are used for every service release. This is to ensure that exactly this error or this issue will not occur again with a next service release.
Yeah, right. Regarding the InnoTest, so now that our support guys established InnoTest, and he reached his limit by solving the case because he found out, okay, I need the developer because they need to check the source code in order to understand why we have this behavior. So if it's a bug or if we need to change something, and we are passing the ticket to the development. Again, explaining this again and again, it's important to have everything well documented. Our developer, they need to develop our solution, they need to support. So basically, they don't have time to dig into the ticket. So they need to have a ready ticket in order to work on it. So basically, they are taking the ticket, running the InnoTest, checking, I would call it a script. So how I need to use the system in order to reproduce it with the InnoTest. And then the next step would be that he will try to solve it, fix something in the code, check, okay, why, in the debug mode, why it's not working. And of course, this is the reason why we have one problem, one ticket. Believe me, if we pass a ticket to a developer or to the development team in general with several problems, or if something is not clear, you can be sure that the development team will just pass the ticket back to the supporter because they don't have time. They cannot take the time to be honest. And it's important for them to have everything ready, to be efficient, and in order to give you a quick answer about the fix. And during this time, not a second person can work on the ticket. So only if this person is working on the ticket because it's more efficient, it makes more sense because you know already everything about the issue. And yeah, that's it. Afterwards, when the developer solved the ticket, Carl?
Yeah, in the case, if the case has been processed by the developer, he returns the case back to the Techserv employee. And this Techserv employee will give a feedback to the partner and the customer. If the case is finished, he will set the case to resolved. Now it's up to you, to the partner, to close the ticket or by answering the mail and reopen the ticket. For example, if you still got an issue or some questions left.
Yeah, right. A small information aside regarding our processes, how to get in touch with my ongoing ticket, how I can be informed regarding its status, if it's resolved, closed, etc., etc. So imagine that you're handling 3-4 tickets and the communication is done via emails. so you can get easily lost the track of the ticket. That is why in our portal, myInnovaphone, you will have a table with an overview of your ongoing ticket, same as you will receive also every week, Friday afternoon, an email in English and in German with a link with the same table, which lists all ongoing tickets. The advantage of this, it's just that you can answer easily. So if you want to answer to a ticket, you need to insert a ticket number. If you don't do this, it creates a duplicate one. We don't want to have duplicate tickets. We don't want to make extra work for nothing. So that is why with this table, you have an hyperlink of the ticket number. This is just basically a mail to function, and this will prepare your email. So this will automatically fulfill the subject and so on, in order that you can answer directly into your ticket. So if you lost the track of your ticket, don't forget those channels in order to find out your ticket back. So, Carl, now that I'm done with my aside information, I would say, so I'll let you continue.
Yeah, if you know that a complicated installation is pending, for example, you have a project coming up and you want to have help, you can report this also to our support department. We will then try to make a member of our staff available to answer your questions by telephone, because sometimes that makes more sense than just mailing to each other. It is also important here to send as much information as possible in advance. And to be able to plan here, this must be announced at least 5 working days before the appointment. If you don't know how to create a ticket or how to make logs and traces, you can check the IT Connect training in topic 11.1, how to create a support ticket and how to create a log and trace file.
Okay, I think this is pretty clear. So now you got it. If you want to have a dedicated support guy, not on site, but remotely in order to help you, please inform us 5 days before, and then we will make sure that somebody will be here for you. Now, one last thing regarding our planned service release. So we are releasing each month, so each second Monday of the month, a service release. So service release is important, is including several things, such as bug fixing, new features, integration of third-party headset, for instance. So if we have like a new headset, new models, then we need to integrate it. So that is why we are just releasing everything through the service release regarding our fixes in general. The fixes, the release is not released until all tests are done. I mean 100% of success. So if one of the tests is failing, we have to stop, to fix, and to restart all the tests. We don't start from the blocking point. So it's take quite a lot of time, and with the V13 we improved a lot our test, so we added more and more tests because we have more and more features, and it's important to test the interaction between different modules, so in order to don't have collateral damages. So that is why we have this cycling test before the service release, and then we are sure that the service release is stable enough. Of course, if some tests are not present, we need to improve this in a future date. So that is why the support ticket is really important for us in order to improve our software, and we need you guys for this. I think, Carl, I will let you conclude this presentation. I think we have not a lot, we have a little bit time maybe for the question, if there are any questions. Nadine or Elisa?
In these sessions, there are no questions.
Okay. So, thank you everyone. So I will let Carl finish this presentation. Again, many thanks for being there, for participating. As I said, without you, we won't be there, we won't do this. And that is why I want to personally thank you for your attention. Carl?
Yeah, thank you everyone. It should make clear why we have this process and why we have sometimes such high demands, but it's only to help you and to work more efficient. So thank you for participating. If you still got questions left, you can meet us in the dialogue session later on in IP1.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. I will pass the next thing to Johannes, and I will go to the conference room.
Okay.
Thank you.